Okay, the next topic is on atoms and ions. Basically, what's the difference between atoms and ions? Atoms are neutral particles. The total number of protons and the total number of electrons are the same. Okay, so based on the last lesson, if this is an atom, proton is 7, electron should also be 7. Aluminium has an atomic number or proton number of 13, so 13, proton and electron must be the same. 16 and 16. So these are basically atoms. Atoms, total number of protons, positive, and electrons, negative, balance out. They are the same. Now let's look at ions. So in the case of ions, ions are simply charged atoms. When an atom or ion has more positive than negative, it becomes a charged atom. It becomes an ion. The term is given ion. And it becomes a positive because you have more positive than negative electron. If you have the reverse case, more negative and less positive, you will have overall charge of negative. And this is usually represented by putting a bracket. Okay, why do atoms become ions? Atoms become ions because they need to obtain a stable noble gas structure. Stable noble gas structure refers to structures, to elements in group 0, okay, which has a full outer shell. So they become ions so that you can get a stable noble gas structure. This is a key word you need to learn. Now, if you are in group 1, you have one valence electron. So it is much easier to give away one electron and form a positive. If you are in group 2, you have two valence electrons, therefore it's easier to give in 2 rather than take in 2. Give away 2 electrons and you have 2 plus. And same for 3. Now, in this part here, if you are an atom, your proton and electrons are the same. But when you have formed an ion, because you have given away electrons, what you have is you have less negative electron and you have more positive proton. The proton doesn't change. And so what happens is you have less negative, and what you have is you have positive, you have a positive ion forming. In the case of negative ions, example, if you are in group 7, you need to get a stable noble gas structure which is 8 electrons. You will take in 1 electron and that will make you a negative. If you are 6, it means that you have 6 valence electrons. So to get a stable noble gas structure, you need an 8. So you will take in 2 electrons and this becomes 2 minus. If you are in 5, group 5, you will take in 3 electrons and it will become 3 minus. Okay, why do you get negative? It's because you have taken in more electrons. Proton remains the same, so there are now more negative electrons than proton, hence you get a negative ion forming. Okay, so this is how negative and positive ions are formed. Okay, let's look at the first example. Aluminium is 2.8.3 electronic configuration. 3 there. So is it easier to give away 3 or take in 5 more? So definitely it's much easier to give away 3. So if you give away 3, last shell is gone, and this is what you get, a stable noble gas structure with a 3 plus. Give away, become more positive. Okay, second one, oxygen. Oxygen has electronic configuration of 2.6. So is it easier to give away 6 or take in 2 more? So in oxygen's case, you take in 2 more negative, you take in 2 more negative electrons. Here they are. Now you have 8 stable noble gas structure. Since you have taken in negative, the whole atom or ion now becomes charged with a 2 minus. And that's how you get positive and negative electron.